In this video, we're going to look at the problems in the 2-4 slides. We're going to start here on page 3 with finding half of a quarter, a third of 35, and then doing some multiplication of fractions. So first off, we've got finding 1/2 of 1/4. And to find half of a value, we just multiply the values by 1/2. So 1/2 times 1/4 is, we multiply across the top to get 1, and multiply across the bottom to get 8. So that's 1/8. Same sort of thing for 1/3 of 35. That's 1/3 times 35 equals 35 thirds. All right, well, 35 thirds, we don't really want to have that as an improper fraction, so we can rewrite that by saying, okay, well, that's 33 thirds plus 2/3, which is going to be 11 2/3. Again, we're multiplying these fractions, we multiply across the top. We can also do some cancellation as we go. I'd say the first thing we'd want to do is cancel this 2 with the 2 in that 6, change that to a 3. And now we've got 5 when we multiply across the top, and the bottom is 3 times 3 times 9, so that's 9 times 9 is 81. Here, there's a little more we can do. We've got a 2 in this 12 and another 2 in this 10, which gets rid of both of the 2's in that 12, get a 3 there. We can divide that 6 by the 3 to get a 2 there and cancel that. And we can divide this 5 by that 5. And now we're left with 2 over 21 without having to do any multiplication at all. Next up, we're asked to multiply some mixed numbers. Okay, so when we multiply mixed numbers, the first thing we want to do is make those numbers fractions. 4 1/3 is equal to 4 times 3, 12, plus 1 is 13 thirds. So 3 times 13 thirds is 13. Now we've got 2 1/2 times 5 1/3. Well, 2 1/2, that's 5 halves. 5 1/3 is 16 thirds. 5 times 16 is 80 over 6. Okay, well, the closest multiple of 6 to 80 is 78. And 78 is 13 times 6. And we're left with 2/6, which is 1/3. Now we have a couple of word problems that we want to look at. First, bedding plants are to be planted 3 5/8 inches apart and 3 5/8 inches from the end of the planter. What length planter is needed for 9 plants? Well, if we did a sketch of this, and there's one in the slides, we've got something like this. Here's our planter. Here's 1 plant, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There are 3 5/8 inches here, and 3 5/8 inches between each of the plants, and then 3 5/8 inches at the end. Okay, so that's a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sets of 3 5/8 inches between the plants, and then 2 more at either end. So that's 10 sets of 3 5/8 inches. So 10 times 3 5/8. We'll change 3 5/8 to an improper fraction. That's 10 times 3 times 8 is 24, plus 5 is 29 eighths. And then we can cancel a 2 from 10 and a 2 from 8. 5 times 29 is 145 over 4. 145 is 1/4 more, is 1 more than 144. 144 divided by 4 is, let's see, 36. 36 1/4 inch. In our next word problem, bricks that are 2 1/4 inches thick form a brick wall with 3/8 inch mortar joints. What is the height of the wall above the foundation after 9 courses? So here we have a wall that is 9 bricks high. Seven, 8, 9, and then down here is our foundation. Okay, so we have 2 1/4 inches for each of the bricks, and then 3/8 of an inch between the bricks. So this is going to be 2 1/4 times 9. Move this down here. Plus 3/8 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Which is handy. That's a good one to have. Okay, so 2 1/4 is 9/4 times 9, plus 3/8 times 8 is just 3. 9/4 times 9 is 81/4, plus 3 is 20 1/4, plus 3, which is 23 1/4. Now we're dealing with raising fractions to powers, and we have a couple of fractions that we're asked to raise to a given power. These are pretty simple. To raise a fraction to a power, we just raise the numerator to that power and the denominator to that power. So 2/3 squared is 2 squared over 3 squared, or 4/9. And 1/2 cubed is 1 cubed over 2 cubed, or 1/8. Very simple. Next up, we are asked to find the reciprocals of a bunch of numbers. Some of these are pretty easy, and a couple of others are more complicated. The reciprocal of 4/7, 1 over 4/7 is just 7/4. 1 over 1/2 is 2 over 1, or just 2. Reciprocal of a whole number is just 1 over that number. 1 over 3, 1 over 2. So 1/3, 1/2. 2 1/2 we want to change to a mixed number before we flip it. And also we should change this 7/4 to a mixed number. That's 1 3/4. So we're going to take this and change it to an improper fraction, which will be 5/2. And then we flip it and get 2/5. 0.8 we want to change to a fraction. 0.8 is equal to 4/5. So its reciprocal is 5/4, which is 1 1/4. 1 over 1 is just 1, and 1 over 0 is undefined. 0 is the only number that does not have a reciprocal. Next, we have a division problem, and then we have a couple of division problems, really. It's just one of them is in the form of a word problem. So finding 5/8 divided by 2/3, what we do with this is we change it to a multiplication problem by taking our 5/8 and multiplying it by the reciprocal of 2/3, which is 3/2. When we do that, we get 15/16. An auger bit advances 1/16 inch for each turn. How many turns are needed to drill a hole that is 5/8 of an inch deep? We take 5/8 and we divide it by 1/16, which is the same as taking 5/8 times 16/1. Cancel that 8, and we get a 2 here and a 1 down there. 5 times 2 is 10 turns. Here we're going to start by dividing some mixed numbers, and then we've just got, I think these are all division of mixed numbers problems. All right, so let's start with these. 2.5 divided by 3 1/3. First, we change this to fractions, to improper fractions. 2.5 we know is 5/2 divided by 3 1/3 is 10/3. So that's the same as 5/2 times 3/10. Cancel there to get 1 and 2. And we have 3/4. Here we've got 5 3/8 divided by 3. 5 3/8 is 43/8 times 1/3 gives us 43/24, which is 1, and 43 minus 24 is 19/24. Developer subdivides 5 1/4 acres into lots. Each lot is 7/10 of an acre. How many lots are made? So we take 5 1/4 divided by 7/10. We rewrite this with an improper fraction here. That's going to be 21/4 divided by times 10/7. Well, I can take a 2 from here and from here, take a 7 from each of these, and we wind up with 15/2, which is 7 1/2 lots. So we'll probably have 7 whole lots and then an extra bit of land. Next, how many Velcro fasteners, each requiring 1 3/4 inches of Velcro, can be made from a roll containing 100 inches of Velcro? Okay, so 100 inches divided by 1 3/4 inches, we can rewrite that as 100/1 divided by 7/4 divided by, which is the same as 100/1 times 4/7. Okay, well that's 400/7. And I don't know what 400/7 is off the top of my head, but we can figure it out pretty quick with a calculator. That's 57.1428, a bunch of other stuff. but the important number here is 57 Velcro fasteners can be made from 100 inches of Velcro. Next one, a piece of trophy column stock that is 21.5 inches long is cut into 4 equal trophy columns. If 1/16 inch is wasted on each cut, find the length of each piece. Well, we've got three cuts to make 4 equal trophy columns. So we're wasting 3/16 of an inch, and we'll subtract that from our 21.5 inches. 21.5 inches minus 3/16 of an inch. Okay, well, let's make this 43 halves minus 3/16. And we'll multiply the numerator and denominator by 8 to get 16ths for both of these. 43 times 8 is 344 over 16 minus 3/16 is 341/16. So now we can divide this by 4. Which is the same as multiplying by 1/4. Which gives us 341 over 64. Which will be 5 and 21/64, I believe. Pretty sure that's right. Okay. We've got 2 more problems, and they're pretty simple ones. The first asks us to simplify 6 3/8 divided by 4.5, and the other one asks us to write this decimal as a fraction. Okay, so 6 3/8 divided by 4.5. Well, 6 3/8 is 48 plus 6 times 8 is 48 plus 3 is 51/8 over 4 times 2 is 8 plus 1 is 9 halves. So that's 51/8 times 2/9. Each of these is divisible by 3. Of course, each of these is divisible by 2. We get 17/12 or 1 5/12. Writing 0.33 1/3 as a fraction, I think the easiest way to do this here is to see what happens if we multiply this by 3. And remember that 1/3 is equal to 0.333 repeating. So basically we've just got 0.33 and then we continue on with those 3's. Well, that's the same as 1/3. That's it for this video. If you have any questions, please get in touch.